Warning, the show may contain some crude humor and mild swearing. Listener discretion is advised. This show is produced by Geek Happy Network, constantly curious about the things we love. If you enjoyed listening to Smörgåsbord, remember to subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube, or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. This is Smörgåsbord!
Welcome to Smörgåsbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I'm Mik, and here is my co-host,
Angel!
And today is the final part of the Eid part. Oh my god, can I try that again?
Yeah.
Take two.
Eyes just like
So
passing over.
The rendang's finally catching up to me. Rendang's
that's why-
revenge.
Just don't eat meat tomorrow. It's good for you.
Oh yeah, I could totally do that.
He's not gonna do it.
I've just been.
I've been
eating,
vegetarian before. I lasted a meal.
It's
For
not
like a
even-
day.
If you
It's
round it
not
up.
even-
Day.
I
Nope.
can't be a vegetarian.
All right, take two.
Take two.
Welcome to Smörgåsbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I'm Mik, and here is my co-host.
Angel.
And today we still have Bianca.
Yay!
I'm
Our-
not being held hostage. I'm
No.
sorry.
Our resident,
Expertise or
knowledgeable person in
professor?
Professor Bianca, master of the Eids.
Yeah.
Yeah, without Bianca, I'd be calling it Eid the whole time.
And I'd be like, yeah, what he said.
Eid.
Yeah,
Eid.
Eid. And today
Eid.
we're covering the last of the three-part series where we cover the Eid of all Eids, Eid Al Adha, the Greater Eid. If you're new to the show, this is the third part of a three-part series where we cover the holidays of Islam. So you could listen to this first, but we do suggest going back to the first part after, where we cover Ramadan and the Eid al-Fitr. We'll put a link
The good one.
of the
That's
episode.
the sweet one.
The sweet one, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put a link of the episodes in the description for you, so you could go there right after.
Or first.
Or first, yeah. So to recap, Eid al-Fitr was the lesser Eid. It had a lot of food, mostly sweets. It also comes after a whole month of fasting, which is Ramadan. Now, before we go into Eid al-Adha, we will cover again when exactly Eid al-Adha is, because just like Ramadan, it does not happen on the same day every year, as it follows the lunar calendar. For people who haven't listened to the first episode, the lunar calendar follows a different rotation. Cycle,
Rotation?
yeah. Compared to the solar calendar, which most of us use. So the solar calendar follows the sun and how the earth travels
Moves around
around
it.
it, while the lunar calendar follows the moon and how the moon moves around the earth. This results into about 11 days difference between the two calendars. That means that Eid al-Adha, that means that Eid al-Adha does not happen on the same day every year. Thank you, Angel, for the demonstration.
This is the sun. This is the earth. This is the year. Solar year.
Yep.
I don't have anything that looks like a moon. So there you go.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
So, it's
I
a
don't think you
personal
want to moon
asset.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. Okay.
No.
Not on my desk.
Yeah. So Eid al-Adha, the celebration, happens on the moon sighting of the 10th day of the last month of the lunar calendar, which is called Du al-Hijjah. H-J-J-A-H. Yeah.
What he said.
I'm stumped too. So this is
Dhul
also...
Hijjah.
Hijjah, yeah.
Yeah.
The 10th day of the lunar calendar of Dhul Hijjah is also the ending of the annual holy pilgrimage of Hijjah. This pilgrimage isn't like super related to Eid al-Adha, the way Ramadan is related to Eid al-Fitr, but they're kind of still, they're like distant cousins. But we will spend a little bit of time covering the pilgrimage because it is quite an important part of Islam, as it is one of the 5 pillars, just like giving alms or fasting during Ramadan, as we've covered in this series. The pilgrimage itself, or the pillar itself, asks that each able-bodied Muslim who could afford to do it must complete the pilgrimage to Mecca in Saudi Arabia at least once in their life. Now, Mecca is an important location for Muslims because this is where it's said that Muhammad lived, and it is one of the holiest. Actually, I think it is the holiest place for Islam. As a side note, if you notice the month where all of this happens, it's called al-Hijjah. As it translates to the month of the pilgrimage. So it's quite literal. This is the month you go for the pilgrimage.
Pilgrimages.
Yeah.
I was going to say snacks.
The pilgrimage itself lasts about 3 days upon arrival to Mecca, and it's quite eventful. It includes throwing rocks at pillars, walking and praying to a shrine that's believed to have been built by Muhammad himself. And after completing the pilgrimage, you're also believed to be reborn as a new baby free of all sin. Every year, over 1 million Muslims take on this pilgrimage. But there's not really a lot of food-related things in this pilgrimage, which is why we're not really covering this, and we're not having this as a separate part, because we are here for the food. And the thing that has food is the Eid Al Adha.
What kind of food?
Yeah. Well, before, I'll just add, I forgot to... Yeah.
Ramadan.
Pretty much, yeah. But I did forget to add that with the pilgrimage, it doesn't mean that you have to go. Like we said, it's able-bodied, so you have to be able to afford. If you could afford it, and if you're of age, then you could go. I think that's a big theme throughout all these festivals and about the religion of Islam, is they're very considerate also about status as a person. You know, like if it's hard for you, then we don't force you to do it, which is very they're very considerate of people in need.
If you're in quarantine,
yeah,
so can't go.
Exactly. What exactly is the Eid Al Adha? Well, it is called the Festival of the Sacrifice. It's a festival to commemorate the time that God... Oh, sorry. If Eid Al Fitr
Wrong
is...
God. Wrong God. Abort.
Sorry. If Eid al Fitr is the festival to commemorate the time God revealed the first verses of the Quran to Muhammad, Eid al Adha, or the festival of sacrifice, is the festival to commemorate Ibrahim's faith and devotion to God. So why is a celebration of someone's devotion called the festival of sacrifice? Well, because the story goes, Ibrahim was once contacted by God in a dream where God asked him to sacrifice his own son to God. Now, being a devout believer and follower of God, Ibrahim went ahead and set up the sacrifice of his own son, Ishmael, to God. But just as Ibrahim was about to swing the axe to kill and sacrifice his son, Ishmael, God stops him and asks him to sacrifice a lamb instead. He says that God was just telling Ibrahim that it was just a test to test Ibrahim's faith and devotion, and that he passed the test. Now, before any Christians and Jews start hating on Muslims for such a insane story of sacrificing your own son, this story is also part of the Christian and Jewish faith, but just having different names, Abraham and Isaac. So it's a wildly common story amongst these 3 religions that, as a test of faith,
you gotta kill your child.
You gotta kill your child, and then God going, psych. That was just a test.
JK.
Sacrifice the lamb instead.
YOLO.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, like, the amount of faith you have that's God telling you in a dream.
Yeah.
Imagine dreaming something, be like, oh my God, I gotta sacrifice my dog.
Oh.
Now, this act of faith and sacrifice is what Eid Al Adha chooses to celebrate, and that's why the name, the Festival of the Sacrifice. Just like Eid Al Fitr, Eid Al Adha begins with people dressing to the tens and morning prayers. And after praying, also just like Eid Al Fitr, you can go visit your dead relatives and also practice in giving alms to the poor and the needy, which, as you mentioned, is a pillar of Islam.
You do this all in like a Prada gown.
A what?
Prada
A Prada gown. in your Prada
You're dressed
gown.
to the tens.
And you're giving money to...
I would wear an Alexander McQueen.
You know what? Dubai Mall has like a fashion avenue with like stores I've never ever seen before. It's like
Really?
Like I don't even know what they are. They're just not your typical like, you know, Debenhams or like Champ. It's like I don't know what they are.
Is it like couture stuff?
So couture. It's like
man.
It's like that avenue. Like it's like a new section of the mall. Like no one goes there. It's
No
like
one goes
it's so
there.
bright, like gold and silver. I don't know.
Dang.
Oh yeah,
know.
instantly they'd be like, I smell peasant. Get out.
A rat. There's a
Yeah.
rat. No, seriously. And each store has their own security guard. That's how high
Dang.
fashion
Oh,
it is. Like,
dang.
I'm like, I don't even know these names. They're like, it's from Milan. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
It's like, the only store that I recognized was Leica, like a Leica store.
Oh, they have
Yeah.
an actual Leica store. That's so cool.
Yeah, the cheapest camera is like $4,000
Dang.
Oof.
Celebrating Eid Al Adha in style.
In style.
It's like 2 months of Serb right there.
I'll have my McQueen gown and my Leica.
My Leica purse.
Like, no problem. Just holding the sun.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's a little speaker.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I
Little
thought it was.
USB.
That was
I
like
thought it was just like a
cream.
grinder that you had.
Oh. I guess it does look like a grinder.
I have a similar. It's like gold.
Oh.
Yeah, my friend gave it to me. She's all like, isn't your car speakers fucked? Here you go, have a little Bluetooth speaker. I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
But it lasts like 10 minutes.
Oh.
It dies.
Might as well keep it plugged then.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh.
My cigarette lighter's busted too.
GG.
Oh.
Yeah,
You need to put a generator in your car.
I do. It's a true relic. And I just keep breaking it too.
Hi there, my name is Kanyeki Kamawe, and I'm the host of the Represented Podcast. No matter who you are and no matter where you come from, we each have a story to tell. The Represented Podcast explores individuals' life stories with the hope that we can identify with or learn from them. Subscribe and listen to the show on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or even Spotify. You can also check us out on the Geek Happy Network website. That's geekhappynetwork.com. Finally, follow the show on Instagram at Represented Podcast to keep up with the fun stuff. Love to see you there. Peace.
But anyway,
Yes.
back to Pradagans.
Yeah, so after praying, you can visit your dead relatives and practice alms. It was just really nice to see like that in both Eid Al Adha and Eid Al Fitr, you're still trying to provide for those in need while also sharing in the greatness of your own faith. So it's like, I get to be fancy, but I also get to help people be fancy too. I
Nice.
guess. Once you complete all of this, and it's off to your friends and family for gift giving and just a big, massive feast. Gifts during this time could be anything from money to clothes. It can go, and the festival itself can go anywhere for 2 to 4 days, depending on your country. Another similarity of this festival is that you're also not allowed to fast during Eid Al Adha.
Does this one have a multiplier?
No, there's no
Okay,
multipliers.
not like the other one
Yeah,
where you fast for 6
Ramadan
days
and-
and it's a year.
no, that you do that, you already done that, so you're already good for the year, right? No, you don't need
Right.
to fast anymore. Yeah.
Ever.
Well, for the year, I guess. But Smörgås, we're here for the food. And when it comes to Muslim celebrations, as we mentioned, Eid Al Adha is the greater of the festivals. The highlight of, I guess, one big part of Eid Al Adha is the Qurbani, which is the sacrifice. So just like how Ibrahim sacrificed a lamb, so must all Muslims sacrifice an animal to celebrate Eid Al Adha. This is the Qurbani, and it's like we mentioned, this is the Qurbani, and it's a requirement for all the Muslims. But of course, there are some exceptions again, just like how there are exceptions for Ramadan when it comes to fasting. The exceptions here are for people who do not have wealth equivalent to 52.5 tolas of silver, which totals to about $416 Canadian. Also, people who are exempted are people who are not of sound mind or children. These exemptions are pretty much also the same exceptions for people who should be giving alms.
Right.
So again, like here, it's like everything we've seen so far, they're kind of considerate for people who can't afford it and stuff, and instead help them out instead of, make them suffer
But if you
more.
just don't want to kill an animal.
Now this is where you could also pass off or delegate your Qurbani and getting someone else to do it for you, or also just donate it so then all your Qurbani can just go to someone in need instead of for your family.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When it comes to animal of choice, it doesn't have to be a lamb like Ibrahim. It can be lamb or sheep or a goat or a cow or a camel. Now, depending on the size of animal, it can count for one person, or like a sheep or a goat counts for one person, or 7 people. So like a cow or a camel can count for a whole family, or 7 people.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bloodbath.
It's just one of those things that are still like old school.
Yeah.
Like I was like reading like a story about like how like like for some kids they have to like see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
you
one of
do.
those- especially if you're a boy, it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
You do have to kind of experience it. Like, you could pass it off, but that's just more of like in today's world where with the prevalence of like
Yeah.
food for people of privilege, you can just donate your share and have them kill the animal remotely, because you can't really, it's kind of useless to kill the animal in Canada if you're going to donate it to someone in, I don't know, like India or something.
Right.
So you might as well
Mhm.
pass it off to someone in India. But it is kind of still part of the old school tradition for sure that you have to experience the you don't have to conduct the sacrifice, but you should at least be there for the sacrifice.
Mhm.
A big part of it is because when you sacrifice the animal, you should also recite the prayer of Takir, which is Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, or essentially in the name of Allah. So you don't have to say it out loud, but you do have to kind of say it as the sacrifice is being made to complete the Qurbani. Now, there are also some rules of how or when to sacrifice your animal. One is, of course, this animal has to pass halal. It can't just be any animal. It has to be at least an animal
Vegetarian.
that's halal. Yeah. All those rules which we covered in the last episode. Now, while you're also allowed to prepare or select your animals beforehand, the sacrifice must happen during Eid Al Adha, which is the 10th to the 12th day of that month. The animal has to be in good health, and there's also a long list of different rules of what good health means. It could have things like the animal can't be blind, or missing an eye, or missing a tail, or a horn, or having a lame leg, or being super fat, or super thin. And it has to be of a certain age as well. So, like, if you're sacrificing a camel, it has to be at least 5 years old. So it's like halal, there's also a lot of rules here. There's also in terms of preparation, so you can only kill or sacrifice the animal with a very sharp knife so as not to make the animal suffer more than it should. Or you can't also sharpen the knife in front of the animal that you're going to slaughter. Or another one I found funny is you can't, not funny, sorry. Another one is you can't slaughter an animal in front of another animal too that you're going to slaughter. So you kind of want to keep them in a separate room, give them a proper and respectful sacrifice. A clean cut to the throat is usually the best way to kill the animals. Make sure it's a deep cut, not a light cut like the blood episode we did months ago about the Nepalese who would harvest yak's blood and
Oh my god.
only
Just kind of
leave a
bleed
light
it,
cut.
and then we're like, okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah. So not like that. Give it a good deep cut that will kill it for sure instead of not. Another interesting rule that I found was you can't actually skin an animal until it's gone completely cold. So after you kill it, let the soul or its essence leave the body, essentially, is I think the idea there.
Mhm.
So a lot of it's quite like, sure, it's quite a bloodbath, but it is quite respectful to the animals in some ways as well.
I don't like this one as much.
Yeah. And then once you complete the sacrifice, you split the animal into 3 parts. You're not allowed to keep the whole animal for yourself. It is a requirement that you give part of it to other people as well. So generally, it's 1 part to you and your family, the other part to your friends, and the 3rd part to those in need. So, like, again, it goes back to that whole theme of providing for those in need, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is quite it's not the happiest thing for animals, but
No.
Yeah.
it is done with the belief of it being a holy and ritual. It is for the good of God, I guess. And God created the animals, so.
So you
I
give
never
a part to your friends. Is it possible to like receive 20 parts?
Yeah, I
If you
guess.
have a lot of friends.
Pretty
you just
much.
like basically have the whole animal back together. Frankenstein it.
Like, I need a
I'll
butt.
give you life.
I need a butt.
Yeah, I think this is why like a lot of people tend to just donate their Qurbani, because then you don't really want to have that much Qurbani. Or maybe you do, it really depends on how you want to party.
Depends on what
Yeah.
you're building.
Yeah. So when you do
Yeah.
receive your Qurbani or your meat, you can cook it however way you wish. I'm assuming if you're Muslim, you just want to adhere to the rules of halal when you cook it. And it's quite, there's a lot of things you could do with it.
Oh no, it's usually like a kebab
Yeah.
or something.
Ooh.
They like slow
Yeah.
roast it.
Kebab.
Everything in Dubai is
Yeah,
kebab.
and it's generally just roasted. You roast the meat and then you get to eat it with a lot of other food too. Because as we mentioned, Eid Al Adha is a feast. Qurbani isn't the only food you'd be eating during this festival. As we talked about before, if Eid Al Fitr is known as the sweet Eid, Eid Al Adha is the savory or salty Eid. The food here will include a massive smorgasbord of savory vegetables and meats from curries, soups, stews, and everything you can imagine. As long as it's halal, I guess.
Curry.
Yeah, because just like, similar to Eid Al Fitr, the food served on your table will depend on where you live. There will be some overlaps in dishes even between Eid Al Fitr and Eid Al Adha. One example is ma'amul, which is a cookie or ball-like pastry with dates and nuts. That's kind of common between both festivals and also across different countries. Another one that's common that we heard from during Eid al Fitr is tagine, which actually I found out was named after a pot that it's cooked in. The Moroccan tagine.
Is it pot shaped?
Yeah, well, the pot shape is called tagine.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
that, as we mentioned, was a slow-cooked stew with a mixture of meats and vegetables, spiced up with cinnamon, saffron, or turmeric, with some fruits as well.
Fruit?
That one you eat with couscous. And yeah, sure, Angel, you could eat it with quinoa, too.
Quinoa.
Quinoa.
Yes.
Quinoa. Yep.
Quinoa.
Just like the last episode, I can't go through all kinds of foods, so I'll just have a few highlights here. One dish you may come across in Turkey is oruk, which is baked meatballs with walnuts, herbs, spices, bulgur dough, which is a kind of wheat.
Bulgur dough.
I heard burger.
Yeah, me too.
Bulgur, Bulgur. It's like a kind of wheat.
Okay.
Apparently, it gets old really quickly, so you want to cook with it fast.
Immediately.
But this sounds good. Walnuts with meatballs, herbs, and stuff.
Yeah, no, that sounds great.
Another one that you might see from around different countries is biryani, which is rice dish with chicken and yogurt and if I have to give up beef rendang, I'll probably just go for biryani.
This sounded so weird,
Yep.
but yeah.
You can have my share.
And
because it's rice.
So in India, it's usually made out of mutton when you serve the biryani. Spicy, rice-filled, and super, super aromatic. So, I don't know. I think you would enjoy eating rice with biryani. Because it's like a lot of spices and there's a lot of flavors and it just smells... It smells like food cologne. But like edible. It's just... Oh.
It's so good. I love like digging into it because it's like you find chicken like randomly.
Yeah. So it's like that...
Because you have to mix it first.
It's like the chicken episode with it, where you can't... Like everything's just cooked together. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try it. I will try it.
I know there's like a African fusion restaurant in downtown, Simba's, that has really good biryani. Yeah.
Oh, I know where it is.
Another dish you may find in India is nali nihari, which is slow-cooked lamb or beef cooked with its bone marrow and spiced with coriander leaves. I think I could go with this one too. I don't know. I really like bone marrow, so this one would be really good.
It's fatty delicious.
You're just like
I don't know the difference between coriander and cilantro.
Coriander is the plant.
I thought they looked the same.
Usually, yeah, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
They usually refer to coriander when it's in seed form, but coriander is a cilantro plant.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, okay. So I'm assuming neither of you have that weird cilantro problem.
I like cilantro.
Where some people, okay. If some people have like a gene that makes cilantro taste like soap to them.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, really?
Test.
I don't like
cilantro.
Shit.
Oh. Hello.
Vancouver loves cilantro.
Yeah, there's a lot of cilantro.
Vancouver loves cilantro.
You loves.
I ordered like maybe like a soup and then just like they dumped the whole
that's gross.
plant in there.
And the whole thing tastes like soap to you.
Yeah. Cilantro is good in like small doses. Yeah.
Amounts. Yeah.
I think I ate too much Mexican food to not like cilantro. Because you think they like cilantro here, Wait till you have some like
Yeah,
Mexican
so they're,
food.
like-
It's like in everything.
and I know Chinese, some cuisine in Chinese use a lot of coriander seeds. That one is like so crazy because then it numbs your
I'll
tongue
try.
when you have too much coriander seeds. Tum
Num tongue.
Yeah.
We have some
Yeah.
num tongue.
I don't know. I'd have some num tongue for you.
Num
Num tongue.
num tongue.
That should be a video episode where we just eat coriander seeds.
Let's see how much we
That's-
need to eat to sound like this.
And then, lastly, in the Middle East, a common dish you may see there is roast lamb. I got hungry.
Yum
That's
yum.
my
Yeah.
favorite.
Another dish there is makluba, which is it's vegetables, meat, and rice layered in a pot, and you flip it around, and then you pull the pot out, so it's like a cake with rice, vegetables, and meat on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all cooked.
Yeah, I've seen that actually. It's
It sounds good because then
it's like an upside down.
it like
cake.
absorbs all the flavors.
It's a
yeah.
rice cake,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can see that
but it's not 100-layer
No.
cake.
this one you cook all together instead of one layer at a time.
Not in 20 different easy bake
Yeah.
ovens.
Nope.
You're gonna blow your power.
That's why we have a gaffer, right? For the easy bakes.
Plug it into outside.
Every single outlet.
Yep.
Ooh. Yeah.
So yeah, you can see with Eid Al Adha, like there are some similarities with Eid Al Fitr, but it is very much more focused on sitting down and
like
feasting.
feast
Instead
style.
of I think Eid Al Fitr
Yeah.
has a lot of more social. You talk with your neighbors, you give each other sweets and stuff. This one is like you give your neighbor their meat, and then you go home with your meat, and you just like meat part. Oh,
Eat
God.
your meat all night.
Ain't no party like a meat,
Meat for the
party.
meat.
So what do you guys think? Do you prefer Eid Al Adha food or Eid Al Fitr food?
They're both the
Yeah.
same. I just Eid Al Adha like passes over me because it's like it happens during school time for
Right.
me usually. It's like last week of summer or school time, so
Oh.
it's like it's usually a holiday, but then it's almost like Eid Al Fitr, like it's just we're just eating again. There's fireworks again. And There's more
Nice.
celebrations. Yeah, this one I had very little background about it, so I was like very surprised when I was like, I knew it was the festival of sacrifice. I didn't know it was like this hard.
Right. Oh, so you got to see a lot of the sacrifices too?
I didn't get to see
No.
it. No, not in Dubai. I think those I have no information
Right.
about it because it's everything in Dubai is halal, but I just don't know where. Like
Right. Maybe if you didn't go to the
Right.
VIP line
Yeah.
of the butcher, you would see it.
You can't
No.
be in the back room. That's not where it happens.
But there are farms. There
Right.
are certain farms where you can pick
Oh,
the
cool.
animal that you want and you just pay for it.
Oh, nice.
Because I remember when I was young, we went to like a cow farm where like this is gonna be
Pick the one that you
Yeah.
want to eat.
No, no. It was a field trip. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're not like
Yeah.
Betty over there.
Betty with the earring. Oh, that's
Yeah. Betty looks especially plump and
Tinder
juicy.
for animal
yeah.
pickings.
Yeah, I just remembered it. I was like, we actually went to a cow farm
Right.
when I was younger, but it wasn't like anything about Eid. But it was just like they just wanted us to see a
Okay,
farm.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the thing that a lot of people are fighting against. Is like they were like, I didn't understand it at that
Yeah.
time, but I guess in Dubai, it's just the way
Yeah.
it is.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I personally prefer, I think,
Then-
the savory foods more than the sweet foods.
True.
Depends on the day for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want all the sugar. Sometimes I want all the salt. So
So the spam day was
Yeah.
definitely you're in a sugar mood now
Salt
because of
day.
the salt, all the salt you've
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely go for Ramadan because it's like 30 days
Yeah.
of fun. I thought it was really. It was really
Yeah,
fun for me.
I think for a lot,
when I
it
was
seems
there.
like Ramadan isn't like this soul-sucking month. It's more of a, it's, yeah, sure, we're fasting, but we're also eating.
I don't know. I feel like it's like you get to like, as I was growing older, it's like people are like more open.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a joke.
Right.
Because you can't smoke,
Yeah.
right? Because like for my uncle, they used to have like a designated smoking
Oh,
area.
okay.
So they would just like maybe just stand there and not smoke and just like
Just stand there.
take your smoking break. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
cool.
just bond over the fact that
Yeah.
they can't like smoke anything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because like
You're still getting the social rewards, just not the nicotine.
Sounds healthier.
Because like it's not like it's actually the withdrawal is really
Yeah.
bad.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, for my uncle, his like tradition is like as soon as you hear the mosque and the prayer, he just like starts like lighting up his cigarette. He already has it in his mouth and he's just like waiting with the lighter.
The sunset yet? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now. Okay.
He was like the happiest person at the end.
That's funny.
That was his
Right.
iftar. Yeah.
Once you get your nicotine fix, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
And people were very respectful.
Yeah.
Like for us, it was, what is I gonna say? It's like it's not like they just tell the general public that people shouldn't really be drinking
Yeah.
water in public. Like, you can do it
Yeah.
at home if you're not Muslim, but just when you're around Muslim, it's like be respectful.
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
cool. Yeah, you probably don't want to be walking around with a big ass cheeseburger during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's fun. Super
Yeah. And yeah, just as
you eat that cheeseburger on
Yeah.
the DL.
you eat it early in the morning, you walk around
Yeah,
with cheeseburger stank. Oh man, make everyone jealous.
You have like dribbles of sauce right here. You're like, you don't see it.
It
Nothing.
was my
No.
it's my suhoor, okay? Don't judge me. Yeah. Well, like every episode, we do find out if it's healthy or good. This is pretty much just the same as the last two of the series. I'd say it's healthy to the soul.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
It's spiritually.
yeah. It seems like a lot of this
Yeah.
food here is very heavy on spices and seasoning. So I wouldn't say it's healthy to eat this forever.
Sounds good to me.
But it's good for your soul.
As long as
Yeah.
it's meat. Yeah.
Whether it's good or not, well, I just had beef rendang and I'm addicted to it. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, that concludes our 3-part series on the Eids. The Eids of March. Well, it's May this year. And I guess it's going to be a different... Anyway, it's different every year.
Eat May.
At some time.
Wait,
it's
if
gonna-
it gets like earlier every year,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe in
Yeah.
2030, it's the Eids of March.
Since it's shorter.
Yeah.
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 30,
No,
I
it's
don't
usually
think
like
that-
it's usually between May and like July. It's usually those
Yeah.
those months.
But it moves every
Okay.
year, so maybe eventually it'll reach December.
Yeah. I would be very concerned. The moon doesn't like take that long. Yeah. It's usually like between
Yeah.
summertime. What's also
Right, the
interesting
long
is
days.
Yeah.
yeah. What's interesting is that like every day the Ramadan time gets earlier.
Right.
So it's like usually like sundown is at 7:20. The next day it's 7:18,
Right.
and goes like till like 7:10. So
It's just the guy calling.
Or
It's
you
just
get
getting
happy.
hungry.
You just have to
hungry.
keep getting earlier.
The guy calling and it's like, yeah, I can see it now. We're good.
You get like 4 minutes hungrier every day.
yeah.
Sounds like the guy in Dubai was
That's
just
good.
cheating it.
The closer you are to the equator, the less time
Yeah.
change it
Mhm.
is. Move to the
Yeah.
equator.
It's true. Good call. Good place to be a Muslim in the equator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the series. Yay.
Yay.
The trilogy.
Quadrangle.
The trilogy.
Thanks for listening.
Yay, thanks for having me.
Bye.
Yay.
So yeah. Bye.
Right.
This is Smörgåsbord. Have a ritual, myth, or something strange you want us to explore? Send us a message through Facebook at Geek Happy Network or email us at team@geekhappynetwork.com. We'd love to hear from our fellow Smorgies. This show is created by Angel Lynn and Mik Narciso, hosted by Angel Lynn and Mik Narciso, edited by Mik Narciso and Bianca Goico, logo and graphics by Angel Lynn, music by Mik Narciso, and videography by Bianca Goico.